Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our Center Court Fireside Chat. We have a special guest in Melissa Rapp. She is Associate Dean of MBA Admissions at Emory's Goizueta School of Business. She's a longtime veteran in the admissions business. She's spent 7 years at the Kellogg School and has been at Emory for a little over a year. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much, John. Thanks for having me here today.
So we were chatting about the much easier to deal with winters in Atlanta than Evanston.
Absolutely.
Although you're a Chicago native, so you were really used to the cold.
I was used to the cold, but I have to say that not having to deal with layers and bracing yourself every time you walk outside was a really delightful way to spend the winter.
I bet. Now, I think on a lot of people's minds right now, because of what we're going through with the pandemic and the recession, is what the next admission season is going to look like, not only at Goizueta, but across all the top schools. There's some speculation that maybe we won't get the historical bump that we normally have gotten in the past when you go into a recession and people find that their prospects have dimmed in their current jobs, or maybe they're unemployed, or they just feel it's a good time to escape the work world and go and get a graduate degree. But because of the pandemic and the confusion and the distraction, there's some people who think we won't experience a boom. There's some people who are saying, yes, there's already evidence of that. Some schools are reporting a surge in applications in these extended deadlines due to the pandemic. And when you talk to admission consultants, some are saying their business has doubled already. What do you think? Are we going to see a very big bump? Are we even going to see a record volume of MBA apps this coming season?
I don't know about a record number of applications, but I definitely think, and from conversations I've had with folks, people are definitely thinking about what is my next step? What does the future look like? And I think certainly in times of uncertainty, when it can make people very reflective about the impact they want to have, about the world they want to live in. And it's been my experience both at Kellogg and now certainly at Goizueta that business is such a powerful tool for transforming society that people will continue to see the value in an MBA education and will seek that out. Not just because they think that they can make career advancement or they could make some more money because they have it at this point, but because they really want to be the type of leader who can impact the world in a positive way. And, that's both of the institutions I've worked at, and certainly Goizueta, after having received that large gift that we did, has really doubled down on that impact of business on society. And I do think we'll see the right people choosing to step forward during this time of disruption and continue to pursue additional education in the business space.
Now, one thing you have in common in this job with your old job is that you've been at two schools, both highly ranked, and both have one-year accelerated MBA programs, which is a rarity, frankly, in the United States. Tell me a little bit about how the 1 year at Goizueta differs from the 2 year, and if it's better suited for one type of applicant versus another.
Sure. The 1 year program has a long history here at Goizueta and is definitely a part of our portfolio that I'm very proud to offer candidates, because I do think that everyone comes at an MBA at a different point in their life and their career, and we have different programs because there are different types of applicants looking for different kinds of things. The 1 year program is specifically designed for people who are not looking to make big pivots in their career. People who have already landed in an industry or function that they feel very comfortable with, that they want to continue in. So really they're looking to accelerate in their career and maybe make a small pivot. So perhaps I'm currently working in marketing within a CPG, but I want to move to a tech company. So just a little industry shift. Those type of people do exceptionally well in the 1 year program. The 2 year program, really with that internship opportunity, is a great way to pivot a career on more in different ways. So we really encourage our one-year students to be the type of people who are not looking to make large pivots, but are really looking to accelerate their career. Really, they can come from any industry as long as they're not looking to make those big pivots. So it's a great option.
I'm assuming that's largely because in a one-year program, you don't have the time to take an internship.
Correct. Yes. The internship is really key for people building some credibility into their resume if they're looking to make a big career shift. So the one-year students have to rely on their previous experience to date within their resume to market themselves to achieve their professional goals.
Now, a few things that I've always been impressed with in terms of Goizueta is number one, your career outcomes are spectacular, and they have been consistently. And when I say that, I'm referring to the number of people who have job offers at graduation and 3 months later in particular. In many years, you're among the 1 or 2 top schools in the top 25, top 50. The other thing that a lot of people don't know about, and I think that few people consider, is how early you start and what that means to someone. I remember when the curriculum was changed and you had students come effectively almost a month earlier, which meant that the faculty had to come and work in August instead of having August off. And in fact, that's still true. And the secret of that is that you're able to load up your students with electives far earlier than many other MBA programs, so that when they show up at their internships, having had those in-depth courses, they show up to really impress. And that's still true, right?
It's absolutely still true. That day one readiness is definitely still a mantra that we use around here, and that we really work with our students to make sure that when they do arrive at their internships on day one, they are ready to contribute and make an impact. That continues on to their day one in their new career. We are starting earlier than most programs still, and do find that to be a very important part of the experience here for students to have that, like you said, those electives. What some people also don't realize is that our Career Management Center is available to students as soon as they deposit. So as soon as they have paid their deposit, they start meeting with a career coach at their goals. That's much earlier than most of the schools out there. So we're really proud of that as well. And that's part of the small by design experience that we're able to provide that differentiates Goizueta from other programs.
And when we say early, I mean early, because I think the first week that you expect first years to show up on campus is the end of July for a community orientation, which was followed by an academic orientation, and then classes start as early as August 12th. And you can start taking electives, I looked at the calendar last year, on the 28th of August. That's super early.
Yes, yes.
That's remarkable.
We do want students to dive right into the subject matters that they're passionate about and feel like this is just the best way for them to launch into their MBA journey.
Now, if you were to describe the school and its culture, and were able to use 3 words, what 3 words would you use, Melissa?
I think I would use rigorous, collaborative, and global.
Those
I have to.
Those are 3 good words. So let's examine each of those words. In terms of rigor, we're talking about first-class faculty who teach the business fundamentals and then deeper dive courses, and teach them in a way that's based on their own personal research in their academic disciplines, right?
Absolutely. And I think what has impressed me most in my time here at Goizueta is the depth and breadth of research that's happening here. We really are home to faculty who are incredibly passionate about their studies, about their areas of interest, and really bring that to the classroom and are really at the forefront of knowledge development across the different, across the spectrum of business and society. And Erica James did such an amazing job of recruiting such fresh faces. Daniel McCarthy comes to mind. Brian Goebel is another one who we are just so proud to have the faculty that we do have here, and to have that kind of passion and research that really impacts a student's academic journey.
And for those of you out there who don't know, Erica has been the dean of Goizueta, and she's just about to leave for the Wharton School, the deanship there. So you now have an acting dean?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited to welcome Karen Cedataw to as an interim dean. I am very excited to work with her. You know, having been at Kellogg under Sally Blount and at Goizueta under Erica James, and now to work with Karen, I consider myself very lucky to work with such incredible women leaders within this space.
So let's talk about the second word, collaboration, because it's a word you often hear. But I think that there's collaboration and then there's collaboration. And what I mean by that is that in a smaller, more intimate class, where you're in a place and you're all in there together, you're far more likely to be truly collaborative than if you are in a big class in a big city where people tend to completely disappear into the nooks and crannies of a city like New York in particular. So talk a little bit about collaboration. What do you really mean by that?
Collaboration here is really tied to that small by design commitment that we have. And that has been part of Goizueta for a very long time. And I think there's no other place that offers that combination of, we have access to an incredible metropolitan area, but our classroom structure and our school has stayed committed to very small classes. And what that does is provides our candidates and our students with the opportunity to engage in ways with faculty and staff that you just can't do other places. And to, I mentioned the ability to work with the Career Management Center as soon as you deposit. That's one example. The relationships that are built between our faculty and our students is another example. Our faculty know their students by first name. They exchange cell phone numbers. They're in regular contact with them while they're students and while they're early alums and while they're later in their career. And then the students themselves, because it is a small group and they are experiencing things together from the very beginning, really form such a tight bond. And I like to remind candidates that when they decide that Goizueta is a school that they're interested in, that they are making a conscious choice to be a part of a community where they can't hide. We rely on all of our students to be present and to contribute. We don't have the luxury of extra students to just be in the background. And so it's really a place where you will be not just encouraged or have the opportunity to lead, but it's almost every single one of our students must lead. That leadership is such an ingrained part of the experience, because we just don't have, you know, I kind of think of it as, it's not a football team where you have lots of extra players on the sidelines. That's not Goizueta.
Everybody plays.
Everybody plays. But that also, again, it builds the community because people know that they can rely on each other. They develop a strong sense of trust in their classmates. And they are together through thick and thin. When the going gets tough during recruitment, plenty of people will have their back. Heard that some of our internship opportunities might be rescinded because of the COVID situation. Our students were the first ones to step up and say, hey, let me use my network. My position is secure. Who can I call? What can I do to help? And that's just a testament to that collaboration, community commitment that we have here.
Right, because your annual intake is how many now?
In the full-time program, it's just over 200, around 220.
Mm-hmm. And then you break it into sections beyond that.
Right. And so that includes our 1-year class, which is, usually 60 to 70, and then our 2-year class around 50, 160. And then the 2-year class is broken down into 3 sections.
Right, great. And now let's talk about globalization, because, when people outside the United States might think of Atlanta, it's not a city that's going to come to mind like a New York or San Francisco and LA or Chicago, right? So let's explain to people how global actually even Atlanta is in that environment where you have many multinational companies headquartered.
Absolutely.
And how you treat globalization in the curriculum and in the culture of the school.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we've been focused on very closely for the last few years. And Atlanta is home to lots of multinational companies, 16 top ranked Fortune 500 companies. And so there's lots of opportunities. And even myself, moving from Chicago, where we are known for its great Chinatown and being multicultural, interesting pockets of multinationalism here in Atlanta. There's a strong Korean population. It's just really much more vibrant than even I anticipated. And so Goizueta has recognized that business is done globally, that our students need to be prepared to be global citizens. And so we have put into place a practice of having global opportunities woven into every student's experience. And I think default to, well, that must mean I get to travel. It can mean travel, and travel has in the past been an important part of that experience. But I think it's also important to think about, how can I make myself a better global citizen without leaving where I am? And that is certainly possible. And we have a group of staff members who work really hard to provide students with opportunities to hear from people about their experiences, about their cultures. We work closely with Emory University to provide our students access to all sorts of different ways to become global citizens and to build their awareness. Emory itself has such a deep and rich history of, reaching out across the world. Our healthcare especially makes us privy to a lot of things around the world and sparks a lot of conversations about global affairs. And so I think when students come here, they really do have that woven in, not just in sense of travel, or I'm going to do one course and I'm going to learn about this particular area of the world. It really is we want you to gain an understanding of how business is done around the world. And we want to help you build your competency as a global citizen.
Right. Now, Melissa, if I were to ask your students, what would be the 3 most memorable parts of the MBA curriculum, including the co-curricular part, what 3 things do you think they would say? Things that they really had an impact on them, that they really enjoyed, it made a difference.
Yeah. So I think one that comes to mind immediately is our leadership reaction course. We have a strong connection with Fort Benning. One of the leads of our leadership development series is retired General Ken Keene. And through his connections with the military, all of our students during their time here at Goizueta go through the leadership reaction course at Fort Benning. And this is a day-long event where they are challenged in small teams to complete a series of obstacles. And each one is unique and different. They're very physical. They're out there in the Georgia heat, working their way through, puddles and stands and boxes. And
so this is what happens in early August.
Yeah. This is what happens in early August, and it really is one of those touchstone moments that students come back to and they say, yeah, you know what, my leadership reaction course was when I met my best friend, or remember that time, you know, Bill had to throw up over the pipe, and, you know, I mean, it's intense. It really is.
And that's
Another one.
Toward collaboration, incidentally, right? That's part of the bonding that occurs early on in the program to
Absolutely.
Foster collaboration.
It's one of those shared experiences that people really do bond over. It really is. And it's great to see them do that. Similarly, our gala, which is the Goizueta Advanced Leadership Academy, is the capstone to our leadership development course. And it gives students the opportunity to spend some time in the British Virgin Islands on a sailing yacht. And again, this is one of those practical applications of leadership that also happens to be pretty fun. And students can go through that on the boat. And so this is another way of stretching those students' leadership skills and making
Now, Melissa, is the boat off your right shoulder, the boat they go on, or not?
It is not. I would like a replica of the boat that they go on, but that is not the boat that they go on.
Right.
And I think probably the last one, I think I'm going to pick something that I think a lot of them will identify with. And that's our annual Coke Toast. Obviously, Goizueta having been a namesake for Roberto Goizueta and our close connection in Atlanta with the Coca-Cola Company. It was one of the first moments where I got to experience, and it's a first moment that students experience, all of us together. And if you can imagine the Goizueta building, there's a big courtyard, and it's kind of a horseshoe-shaped building. And what happens is all of the faculty and staff fill in the horseshoe perimeter, and we all have Coke, whatever Coke product of choice. So we have Diet Coke, and we have Coke Zero, and all the Cokes. And the current students are with the faculty and staff. And what happens is the new students don't know that this is going to happen, but they come out of the building, and we all just burst into cheers for them, for our incoming students.
Oh, that's a great welcome.
It is an amazing welcome. You can sense everyone getting goosebumps just from seeing the energy and knowing that this is your community, and we are here with you, and we raise our glass to you, and you are among your family now. And it really was just, you know, when I heard about it, I was like, well, that'll be nice. It'll be a little, you know, celebration. Yay, you're here. But it is very powerful. It really feels like I am a part of something, and I am so proud to be a part of it. And it really is kind of this nice infusion of energy for everyone who's there.
That's great. I love that. How do you know if you're a fit for Goizueta as a student, as an applicant?
Yeah. So I think it's definitely always a two-way process. I think candidates have to learn about us, and we have to learn about candidates. But I think the types of students that we look for are those who are not afraid to be out in front, who want to be a part of a small community where they can have a big impact, who want to be and have access to a metropolitan area that is vibrant and growing, and really doing some dynamic things. And it's someone who's willing to work really hard. We want students who are going to handle the rigor of our classroom, who are going to, you know, put all that they have into this experience, and then understand that this is not just about checking a box, that we are looking to develop principled leaders who are going to have a strong, positive impact on society. And that is written within our charter. It is something we believe in, and we want our students to believe it as well. So that's the kind of student we're looking for, someone who wants that as their future.
Okay, so Melissa, you sold me. So
fantastic. We'll sign you up, John.
So now I'm really eager to come. What advice do you have for me? What should I be doing before I even hit the push button, the submit button on your application?
So before you hit the submit button, I would proofread your essays, because I've plenty of essays where people forget that little piece. But, you know, I think it's so important during the application phase and the decision phase to really spend the time you need to be reflective about who you are.
Mhm.
There are a lot of ways to choose a program. You could just decide to go to the highest ranked school that you get into. You can decide to go to the one that will cost you the least amount of money. I think those are both somewhat short-sighted, and I think they somewhat have blinders if you only choose on one of those types of criteria. I think you need to look for where have I been, and which of the people that I've interacted with make me feel like I can grow, make me feel like I will be pushed but supported. Where do I feel like my tribe is? You're not just picking an academic course of study, you are picking a community. And so to really consider what is best for you, which may not be what was best for your supervisor or your dad, or, you know, the person sitting in the table next to you. This is a very personal decision, and what is right for you may be different than what's right for other people. So it's easy to get caught up in kind of a, you know, well, so-and-so is going here, or, well, this brand has the very best reputation, or, you know, you really need to be single-mindedly determined to do what is best for you and what will really resonate for you. So to be very thoughtful about and clear about what that is for each individual is what I would encourage people to spend time figuring out.
That's really great advice. Well, Melissa, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
That's
John, it was such a pleasure. It's always good to see you.
always
Thank you.
good. Indeed. It's Melissa Rapp, the Associate Dean of MBA Admissions at Emory's Goizueta School of Business. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for joining us.